Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Los Angeles Chargers versus New York Giants Week 5 matchup based on analytics. Each week, I collect all of the current 2017 NFL team data in order to analyze and project potential NFL performance. We're 4 weeks into the season, so it's not the biggest sample size ever. However, there will always be little nuggets of truth in every sample of data you see, which could become bigger nuggets of truth as the season continues. So stick around as I analyze each week's matchups based on analytics. And if you are new to the channel, all terms and definitions will be in the description. So starting with this particular game of the Los Angeles Chargers versus the New York Giants. And when you look at the basic NFL stat comparison, so the NFL stat basic comparison data that you're looking at right now is basically how are these teams performing on offense relative to the rest of the NFL, how these teams are performing on defense relative to the rest of the NFL, how they're doing special teams wise, and then an overall grade is given, which is the all grade, and then that ultimately is also compared to the rest of the NFL, and then boom, you just have sort of a general who's performing better. And again, all these points, I've done many videos in the past, but these are things that matter to winning football games. You want to at least be above average in most of these statistical categories if you expect to be winning football games. So that's to get that out of the way. So when you look at the basic NFL stat stuff, the Chargers are favored in this game, and not by a ton. It's about a 7.67 versus a 0.63. I mean, the Giants have not been playing well this year. I mean, you can't disagree with me. You're 0-4. Your offense is not doing what it needs to do. Your defense is not doing what it needs to do, per se. And you have all these issues in terms of sacks. You have all these issues in terms of the offensive line. It's just a whole little mess. So to get to some of the big differences. So when you look at the total D score, the total D score is the ability for the defense to prevent first downs. And when you look at that score, the Chargers are heavily favored. When you look at the O score, the total O score, which is basically the offense's ability to create first downs, slightly favors the Chargers. So from that kind of perspective. So overall, you have a defense that is not amazing. I mean, again, the Chargers defense is not great, but they've been better at preventing first downs compared to the Giants defense. And on top of that, their offense has been a little bit better when it comes to the offense. So from the get-go, you have that advantage going to the Chargers in terms of the ability to create first downs and the ability to prevent first downs. Then when you get to turnover ratio, surprisingly, the Giants have not allowed a lot of turnovers. I mean, you can criticize a lot of things about this offense, but their turnover ratio has not been that bad, whereas the Chargers have actually had a fairly not-so-good turnover ratio. They're rocking a 5.58 out of 100, which is compared to all teams since 1998. So their turnover ratio is not that great compared to the Giants, who have not had a turnover. So despite all the inefficiencies on offense, turnovers has not been the biggest issue. Sack percentage, surprisingly, has not been the biggest issue for the Giants either. Now, they've had sacks in crucial situations, but this is something that's got a little bit better. But keep in mind that the Giants just finished the game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are historically really bad at getting sacks. Like, the Bucs are one of the worst teams in the NFL when it comes to creating sacks, defensively speaking, even after that game. So this probably helped inflate them a little bit. It helped them out a lot to play the Bucs, to be honest. Whereas the Chargers also don't really have the biggest issue with sacks. But I still question the Giants when it comes to that particular data point. And then when you look at offensive score percentage, which is the ability to put up points on various drives. And the Chargers have just been better in terms of putting up points. Preventing points has been more so in the Giants, but both the Chargers and the Giants have had issues in terms of preventing points on multiple drives. So this is going to be a game where there's going to be points. Points are going to be put up in this particular game. No way around it. But a major scary point for me is when you look at the sack percentage of the Los Angeles Chargers versus the New York Giants. Los Angeles Chargers have been amazing when it comes to creating sacks, whereas the Giants, not so much. And I don't need to get into the whole Eric Flowers. I don't want to reiterate Eric Flowers and all that other kind of mess, because I've already done a video on Eric Flowers. You can just Google Eric Flowers analytics, and you'll be able to know everything you need to know about the situation. But this is a real situation that really scares me for the Giants in this game because of that particular area. Then, of course, you look at interception data. So overall interception data. Both these teams don't really turn the football over a lot. When it comes to actual turnovers, they're both pretty much last in the NFL. Since 1998 in terms of creating turnovers as a defense, and not much interceptions being had on either one of these teams. And so far, that just isn't the best. So both these defenses are not necessarily that great, but one defense is sacking the quarterback a lot, and the other defense isn't. So that's the real difference between both of these teams in terms of defenses. And then, of course, when we look at special teams, when you look at punt return yardage, neither one of these teams is very good when it comes to punt return yardage. When you look at kick return yardage, it kind of favors the Giants, but not amazing in kick return yardage. When you look at preventing punt return yardage, in terms of defensively speaking, the Chargers are better in terms of preventing punt return yardage, whereas the Giants are a little bit better when it comes to preventing kick return yardage. But both of these teams, when it comes to their special teams, are not that great. And that's a problem. The Giants' special teams is not that great, and the Chargers' special teams is not that great. So I would kind of say it's a bit of a wash between these two teams when it comes to special teams. When you look at field goal percentage, mostly favors the Giants, but both of these teams have very bad field goal percentage compared to the rest of the NFL. The Chargers, in fact, are pretty much the worst team in a while when it comes to their field goal percentage. Then, of course, you look at extra point percentage. Very much favors the Giants. And then, of course, you look at punting average, favors the Chargers. But again, the overall data favors the Chargers. And again, the reasons why is because the defense is performing a little bit better than the Giants' defense in terms of preventing first downs. And on top of that, the offense is able to score more points usually. So that's just the way it is at this point. So this is what the basic data says. The basic data basically favors the Chargers overall. It's a winnable game, but it just favors them. And then, of course, when we get to other sort of data points. So this is completion percentage. Not going to get too much into this as I usually do, but I just like to throw this out there, for a lot of you guys to keep track of some of this stuff. Most of the data favors the Chargers in this game when it comes to completion percentage, but there is a big advantage for the Giants defense when it comes to first down situations, because this is the one area where the Chargers have had the most inefficiencies, is the ability to create completions on first down. Then when you look at the Giants offense versus the Chargers defense, mostly favors the Giants offense. The only thing that actually works for the Giants offense is their completion percentage. They have a very high completion percentage, and despite that completion percentage being so high, they have issues. And we'll get into some of those as we go on, but that's just sort of a thing to kind of throw out there. When we look at the rushing, so the ability to create first downs with the run in various situations, mostly favors the Chargers. The Giants defense, when it comes to preventing the run, has not been the best this year by any stretch of the imagination. So despite the inefficiencies that the Chargers offense has when it comes to their rushing game, I think that they'll be able to overcome some of those inefficiencies when they play the Giants. Then, of course, when you get to the Giants offense versus the Chargers defense, mostly favors the Chargers defense in terms of second down and third down situations, but neither one of these, neither the Giants offense is that great, and neither is the Chargers defense, but the Chargers defense is a little bit better when it comes to their rushing defense. So I think the Chargers will definitely have some advantages in that arena. Then, of course, when you look at the passing game, so the ability to create first downs with the pass for the Chargers versus the Giants, most of the data favors the Giants defense. So this is definitely something to kind of watch and see how this develops, because the Chargers are very pass happy. So this is the real sort of matchup to watch because of that fact. And the Giants could actually have some advantages here based on that particular point. Then, of course, when you get to the Giants offense versus the Chargers defense when it comes to stopping the pass. Most of the data favors the Giants offense, except when it comes to second down situations. So I think the Giants will actually be able to do something with their passing offense in this particular game. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, but this is definitely an area that there could be some advantages. Then, of course, you look at sack percentage. So again, this is crucial. In terms of the sack percentage data, most of the data favors the Chargers. The Chargers have been very good when it comes to preventing sacks on first down. Not so great in second down situations, but the Giants have not been very good in terms of creating sacks in second down situations. But I think the key matchup to watch is in third down situations. Most of the sacks, majority of the sacks, have come on third down for the Giants, and this is the area where the Chargers offense has been performing the least well, is that area. So that's definitely something to kind of see how it progresses because of that. Then, of course, we look at sack rate on various downs for the Giants offense versus Chargers defense. When you look at this particular metric, just look at second down. The Giants are by far the worst offense in the NFL when it comes to preventing sacks on second down, whereas the Chargers are one of the best teams when it comes to creating sacks on second down. This is not good. So this is a key matchup to watch. I don't know what the Giants are going to do. They've struggled to really fix things. Eric Flowers is not exactly... I know a lot of people are going to go, well, he was a little bit better against the Bucs. The Bucs are one of the worst teams in the NFL when it comes to creating sacks as a defense. So now you're going up against one of the teams that's one of the best when it comes to creating defenses. Put two and two together. That's all I'm trying to say. And then, of course, we look at interception ratio. Most of the interceptions the Chargers have thrown have come in second down situations and third down situations. So there will be some time, some moments for the Chargers defense to do something. However, the Chargers have yet to record a interception this season. I'll have to double check on that, but based on all the data that I just looked at and all the other sort of stuff, I don't believe they actually recorded a interception this season thus far. So that's that, at least when it comes to the Giants defense. Then finally, when you look at the Giants offense versus the Chargers defense, when you look at this particular scenario, the Giants offense versus the Chargers defense, you look at the first down situation, second down situation. Most of the interceptions for the Giants have come in first and second down. And I think the key matchup is that most of the actual interceptions the Chargers have recorded have been in third down situations. So that's the one area to look at. That's the one area to kind of think about, and particularly third and 10. Third and 10 has been the only sort of area where the Chargers have actually gotten interceptions. So that's definitely a matchup to watch. So how do I feel about this overall matchup? Well, again, I think this is definitely a winnable game for the Giants. I mean, it's not overwhelmingly in favor of the Chargers by any stretch of the imagination. The Chargers are not a very good football team overall. The Giants are a very good football team overall. The overall data does favor the Chargers, so you have to take that into account in this particular game. Now, the game is going to be at New York. It's a West Coast team going over to the East Coast. So I can see the Giants winning this football game because West Coast teams going over the East Coast doesn't always work out well, because of that fact. So I guess that's my general thoughts. I definitely think the Giants can win this game. I definitely think that's possible. But again, overall data favors the Chargers. I just can't go Giants. I just can't do it. I mean, I just have a little bit more faith in the Chargers. I know there's a lot of stuff that's pointing towards success with the Chargers. With the Giants. I mean, in terms of a West Coast team going over, to the East Coast and all that kind of stuff. But I just think that sack percentage. I think guys like Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram are just gonna go off in this game, and I think it'll be a very close game. If the Giants win, the Giants win. But I just think overall, I just have to go Chargers here because I just think they have a little bit extra stuff in terms of impact players to really turn the tides of this game. So, of course, my name is James Coburn. You can find my other work at draftcoburn.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well if anybody that you know, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.